Imagine leading the most powerful army on earth and losing almost everything because of a single decision. In 1812, French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte controlled much of Europe and seemed nearly unstoppable. Determined to force Russia back into his sphere of influence, he launched what would become one of the most disastrous military campaigns in history. Napoleon assembled the Grande Armée, a force of more than 600,000 soldiers from across his empire and allied nations. It was the largest army Europe had ever seen. Confident in a quick victory, the French crossed into Russian territory, expecting to defeat the Russians in a decisive battle and force them to surrender. But the Russians had a different plan. Instead of confronting Napoleon directly, Russian forces retreated deeper into their vast territory. As they withdrew, they burned crops, destroyed villages, and removed supplies that the French army desperately needed. This strategy, known as Scorched-earth, left Napoleon's troops with fewer resources the farther they advanced. Every mile deeper into Russia made the situation worse. For months, the French army marched eastward. Soldiers suffered from hunger, exhaustion, disease, and extreme heat during the summer. Yet Napoleon continued forward, believing that victory was just ahead. Eventually, the two armies clashed in the Battle of Borodino. Although Napoleon technically won the battle, the victory came at an enormous cost. Tens of thousands of soldiers were killed or wounded, and the Russian army was not destroyed. Soon afterward, Napoleon entered Moscow expecting to negotiate peace. Instead, he found a city largely abandoned by its residents. Then disaster struck. Massive fires broke out across Moscow, destroying much of the city and eliminating supplies that the French army desperately needed to survive. Rather than surrender, Russia refused to negotiate. As the weeks passed, Napoleon realized he had made a terrible mistake. Winter was approaching, and his army was stranded hundreds of miles from home without enough food or shelter. Finally, he ordered a retreat.